Well, the first thing we set out to do in this video was to get this Freightliner finished up and this 8320. But we've got the vac truck back in the shop. It has a bearing gone on this right side auger. So we're gonna get this washed off, get it dug apart, and see what kind of a bearing that is, if it's something that we have to go to the manufacturer for, or if we can just source it through one of the local outfits here. So if you recall in the last video, we ended up replacing that vac hose, and yeah, that worked great getting that in and out. So we're gonna get this sprayed off and we'll dig into getting that auger bearing out of there. Well, we've got everything cleaned up, and we have determined that a rock must have gone in here, and this flating right here is hitting on that bracket, and there is some kind of a just a bushing inside that unit there that acts as a bearing. One side of it is cracked, so we've got to take those bolts out there, drop this auger down. I don't know what it takes. I don't know if I got to take the motor off the other side too or not. I'm thinking I could just take that U-shaped bracket off and then slide the auger this way, pull it off the motor, and straighten it. But it has got a good bend in it, so that's what we'll do. Well, we have this back together, but we don't have any new parts. These bushings that act as a bearing that go on the end of the auger, I ordered some new ones, and all I did was I just flipped them over. Seems like they were wore out more on the bottom. This left one wasn't as bad as the right one. So we've got those parts ordered, and I noticed that the keyway on this auger here was just kind of floating in there. The groove in the auger is wore out, and the groove on this stub housing is wore just a little bit as well. So I have the stub housing, adapter housing coming, a new auger, the 4 of those bronze or brass bushings that go on the end of the auger, and 2 stub shafts to go in there as well. So this is all back up and going again. Just what had happened was he got a rock caught in here, and it bent this flight forward, and then when it did that, it caught the frame there. And when they were looking at it, they seen part of that bushing was real thin and wallered and sticking out. So when they seen that, that's when they had discovered, oh boy, we got a bearing gone. But they actually had other problems. So that'll do it for this job. Jared's got the cooling package rolled into this 8320. He's hooking up some shrouds, and I gotta get working on this Freightliner. So if you followed along in the last video, we ended up putting new exhaust manifolds on this. We put all 3 sections on there, and yeah, so we'll get the rest of this back together. Well, we've got this all back together, except for the inner fender here. Everything is all ready to go, and now we are ready to put coolant in. So we're going to see if we've got everything sealed up. I don't know as if I could have got away with getting that exhaust manifold off without taking the inner or the EGR cooler off. Probably could have snuck it out of there without removing that. I don't know how much roll I would have needed to come up this way, but I'm sure all of the professionals will be able to tell me, hey, retard, you didn't need to take the EGR cooler off. But we still had to drain the coolant. With draining the coolant and being that close to everything, we were able to change them 2 rubberized units that the intercooler seals itself back up to the side of the head. So that's new. Now we're going to get the coolant poured in and see how she rolls here. Now on this exhaust manifold, where this valve is bolted to the exhaust manifold, they had studs in here. I've got cap screws, so I've got some studs ordered. I could change those out, and there was studs here as well to bolt the EGR valve on. I've got just regular cap screws in there. But if you don't need to change, well, these are if you don't need change up the exhaust manifold. You don't need to worry about them anyways, but this valve here, if we have to change that and we don't have studs in there, we might break those. So we want to put the studs in and get the nuts on there, remove the cap screws. So let's go ahead and get coolant poured into this. All right, so we've got this all back together, and Jared is just about ready to fire up this 8320 too. So I had to step out for a couple hours, get a crown put on, and he put all the lines and whatever on that while I was gone. Now Alex is going to have the honors of starting this up. It's just going to start hard because we swapped fuel filters. So she has been running the Peterbilt. How's that experience been?
It's so very powerful.
Yeah? So you need this one back in a hurry. Yeah. So the other truck, we'll have to talk about that one here in the future, but these trucks are governed, so we need to have the governor lifted off of this one, and we need to have the cruise control run to PTO. So these trucks are governed considerably, and this one, once we get the governor lifted, she'll have a little more power. You'll like that, won't you? All right, so she's going to start this up. It's going to start hard because we changed fuel filters and oil prior to doing this job, and I never started it after the fact. Let it power up a couple more times. Okay. Go ahead. Nothing? Batteries must be weak. Alright, so I think I need to get batteries for this. Try that, Alex. We got a battery charger hooked up to it now. Well, I put fuel filters in it, so it's dry. All right, try it again. Yeah, it'll do that. It won't turn over? Huh? Go off with the key and then back on. Try it now. We'll let this run for a while, get the air out of the fuel system. This is gonna need batteries. We had one cold day when this was outside. Didn't want to start. but after that it did. So, but I think they're just getting a little weak. So we'll let this run for 15-20 minutes here. Scared you a little bit, didn't it? But yeah, so we replaced all 3 manifolds, the rear one, the center, and the front. I'll show you the old manifold. So this was the front manifold here. It's on there like that, and this bellows is cracked. So that's where all the exhaust was coming from, and it was just belching down through the whole side. When we took this off, usually there's an indication there'll be a streak line if you got one or more blown, but it had smoke down through the whole side. So we replaced all 3 pieces. This piece is the front, and they used the same one in the back, just like that. So we replaced all 3, and I kept the old one that was in the back and the middle one. So I don't mind putting used parts with used parts, but I didn't want to replace just this guy. This was like 400 bucks times 2, and the center section right here was 500 and something. I got about, and then we replaced the crankcase filter. That's down in there. That was $500 and some. That's the whole unit. It was like 3,800 bucks all together. No, 23. It was something else that Tim got. I don't remember what the hell the other part was that he got, but that's why don't you rev it up a couple times. Perfect. Alright, so that's gonna do it for this one. You can shut it off. Have to let things settle out here and put some coolant in it. Looks like we got some steam rising up out of there from the, oh, they had the manifolds soaked in, no, they had like oil sprayed on them. You can see some of it in that center section right there. But we put all new clamps on, manifolds, studs, gaskets. So we're good to go. Maybe you ought to put some new batteries in there. How many you got? You got 3 or 4? So there's 4 in there. Well, we probably better get a set of batteries. But, alright, let's see if this 8320 will start now. Alright, so now we're going to fire this up. I got coolant in it, oil's in it. Oh, that's why you ain't got no key switch. You didn't have key switch earlier. And there's no armrest in it, so he's got to put an armrest in there. He robbed the armrest out of this and put it into 9320. There was a problem with the shifter on that one. The magnets had some crap on them, so they got that going, swapped it back out, and now he's got to get this one in there. So he'll get that set in there, plugged in, and then we'll try it. While he's putting that in there, we'll talk about the service truck for a minute. We're having this lettered tomorrow. You'll see that there's letters on there, but I didn't like the red. And they're gonna come and put the cat decal on the center part of the hood just to fill in that void there. So it looks like he's ready to try this now. It fired, or it, you know, it cranked over. So if you got a packing on that, yeah, this is just loose.
What the fuck? Why is that loose?
Well, that's how you bleed the oil pump.
I don't know why that was loose.
That's one of them styles with a packing in there, isn't it?
Oh, it needs a new pack. One of them nut sacks might have taken this off for some reason because they just don't.
Yeah, hopefully you can get that to stay sealed. Well, prime the system a little bit and try her again. And we're just topping off with some oil here. We've hooked the battery charger up to it just because I think we're going to run out of battery here. Using John Deere break-in oil. I spilled coolant when I put coolant in it. You're right to the top line now. Maybe give her a little sniff. Prime this one more time. Alright, so outside. Sniffles of ether. We didn't want to. There's water in that pipe. So hard to get going, even after you change fuel filters sometimes. Okay, so we got some fuel related issues or something going on with this 8320. It runs, but yeah, something's got to be figured out there. It kind of had this fuel related problem prior to this as well. But with that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. Gonna get some new batteries for this truck here. At some point, if they haul manure tomorrow, Alex wants to use this instead of the Peterbilt. So I think I'm gonna let her use this, get some batteries on hand, get them in it when we get a chance to get it back in the shop again. I need to swap out these 4 bolts here, put studs in there, so that if we need to change this valve, it'll actually come off and we're not breaking the studs in the manifold, because the heat will take place and it'll screw around with that. So with that being said, that's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we will catch you at the next one.